The social justice media is going crazy right now trying to defend Netflix's live-action Cowboy Bebop series. They've defended Faye's actress who decided to deride fans, who is a massive hypocrite by the way. They've tried to defend the race and gender swaps, plus they've defended Netflix's creative team, deciding to change basically everything about the show, and a lot of fans are really disappointed right now hearing all of these small details coming out about this live action because it truly does not sound like it's going to be very Cowboy Bebop. I have a couple of different articles I want to read, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, checking out the join button down below to become a member of the channel, or support via direct donations. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I want to read a Gizmodo article, I want to read a Tech Radar article, but we'll start with the Gizmodo one. It says, don't expect Netflix's live-action Cowboy Bebop to be a straight remake. Star John Cho knows you can't beat the original anime, you can only do something a little bit different. Now, I don't think anyone was expecting Netflix to completely beat out the original anime and do a way better job, but we expected it to be very close to the original anime. I personally do not mind if maybe they changed a scene or two and added a little bit of extra context to a situation. That is okay. Changes that give more detail and more context are good. But they are doing something completely different with this series. They are not even trying to make it close to being a straight remake. They're taking creative liberties, changing a bunch of things. They're changing outfits, changing races and genders of characters. So the original Cowboy Bebop is pretty much perfect. There is a reason it has amassed legions of fans since its debut in 1997. Well, several reasons. It's got instantly likable, compelling characters. It's action-packed but also incredibly accessible sci-fi. It absolutely oozes coolness thanks to the greatest score in anime history. The star of the live-action Cowboy Bebop TV series knows the problem with perfection. You can't duplicate it, and you shouldn't either. Now, I definitely do agree with a lot that's in this paragraph because the original Cowboy Bebop was pretty much perfect. There were very few things they could have changed to make it better. It was amazing. It's an amazing series. If you haven't seen it, you definitely should, especially before this terrible Bebop live action comes out. But I do think that there is a problem with perfection because you can't duplicate every single little perfect thing that was in the anime. Obviously, when you're taking an animated property and turning it into something that is a live action, it's gonna be a little bit different. But with the Netflix TV series, it's like they're not even trying to make it as close to the original as possible. They're changing outfits, they're race swapping characters, gender swapping characters, they're adding original narratives to it. It doesn't sound like they really even care about the original and how much people do love the original Cowboy Bebop series. They're just kind of taking the name and twisting it to be whatever they want it to be. It says Cho refused to sign on to the show until he learned that the live-action Cowboy Bebop show wasn't going to be a shot-for-shot remake of the anime. In an interview with Vulture, he explained the issue. I was like, we're not gonna just remake each episode, are we? I didn't want to restage everything exactly frame by frame, and I didn't want to do that artistically, and I also thought that that was a recipe for encouraging unflattering comparisons. How could you do it better? You can't. You have to do something a little bit different. And I agree, I think that doing something a little bit different would be fine. Maybe slightly changing a scene, maybe adding a brand new scene to something, adding more context to situations, adding a little bit more background. That would be a-okay. I think with everyone, no one expected it to be a complete, exact duplicate of the original, but Netflix is making a ton of different changes to this that do not sound good, that make it sound like a completely different show. It says he's absolutely right. Duplication invites comparison, and if the new show is going to try and copy a Bebop exclusively, it would just be a poor version of the original. It needs to honor what made the animated series great and the characters, the premise, the tone, while having its own unique identity. Some changed storylines or even new storylines are fine, some new, less absurd, more practical, yet still quite sexy outfit changes are even less consequential, despite what some misogynist anime fans might think. I am getting so sick and tired of the media trying to say, oh, only misogynist anime fans think Faye's outfit changes are terrible and bad. Guys, I guess my inner misogyny is coming out, but the new Faye outfit looks like complete and utter freaking trash. I do not know why they decided to go with that, why they thought it was gonna look good, but it looks awful. The hacks that write articles like this would never make it in any other industry. This is a freaking awful thing to say. Just because we do not like her new outfit and we think it looks pretty terrible doesn't mean that we're instantly misogynist anime fans. People like this are absolutely pitiful. But it says one big change is that Cho is 49, while his character Spike is 27 in the anime. I actually think that he looks pretty good for his age. This, to me, isn't the biggest deal. If you look like you can play off a role, that's kind of the most important part. We're not talking about a race swap or a gender swap here. He is a little bit older than the original part. Yeah, maybe they could have gotten someone a little bit younger, but they wanted someone probably who already has a name in Hollywood, someone who everyone kind of already knows, someone who does do a pretty good job acting. There are a lot of people who are pretty divided over the Spike situation right now. I personally think he looks pretty decent in those photos. I don't think they look bad. I think that maybe he can play the part, but a lot of people are pretty worried over it because he is much older than the original character was. I guess we'll have to see what happens when the final product comes out, but it says, first of all, I couldn't have done the role when I was 27. I mean, maybe I would have been better suited athletically, but in terms of my discipline, I am strangely better suited at this age. I don't think I would have done justice to the emotional depth we tried to give Spike. There's always a trade-off. A lot of people's worries right now are focused around Daniela Pineda and Faye and all of the changes to characters like Gren. Daniela Pineda has been facing massive backlash on social media ever since she mocked Cowboy Bebop fans, and I've talked about it a couple of times now. The videos will be linked down below, but the first look at the series didn't look promising. The pictures were awful, the outfits looked terrible for characters like Faye and also Jet Black, and the description we've gotten about the show's narrative is really worrying. And I want to head over to this next article that says Netflix's Cowboy Bebop is showing anime adaptations how it's really done. Now, a lot of anime adaptations really haven't been that good, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really see a lot for this one. While I love Cowboy Bebop, a lot of people do, and I think that it sounds like a great idea and that it could be amazing with all of the changes that Netflix is making. I'm not really that impressed right now, and I'm really worried for this series. It says, adapting anime into other forms of media is always a risky proposition. Anime itself is so stylized, often so laser-focused on their core themes that an adaptation to other formats can often water down the intent of the original source material. That's a concern I've had for a while in regards to the upcoming Cowboy Bebop live-action remake. It's not a concern born from nothing, as Cowboy Bebop isn't your run-of-the-mill anime. To many people, myself included, Cowboy Bebop is the anime. It's what you tell your friends to watch if they're thinking of getting into anime for the first time. It's the show that people who don't like anime still love. I think that Cowboy Bebop is amazing, and I think that it does have a giant audience, so I do understand why Netflix would want to go for something like Cowboy Bebop, because as soon as someone that's a fan of it sees it on the front page of Netflix, they are going to click it instantly. no second thoughts to see if they did an amazing job with the live action series. Truth be told, I don't know if the live action remake is going to be any good. However, I do believe it's on the right track. As mentioned, the recently released screenshots of the remake are incredibly promising and maintain much of the atmosphere conveyed in the original series. While a lot of people are very hopeful for this series, I definitely don't think it's going to show anime adaptations how it's done. So far, we really haven't seen any out of this world, super amazing live action adaptations of anime, and I don't think that Cowboy Bebop is gonna be it. They're changing a bunch of different things, changing races, genders, outfits, stories. I just think it's a combination for a big disaster, but if we go back to this article from a year ago, it does talk about how they're gender swapping Gren from male to non-binary. A lot of fans were very upset with this because we don't want to see brand new, gender swapped, diversified characters. We just want to see the original characters that were written. We want to see their amazing stories. We just want to see it in a live action form. And if you're not going to do that, don't try to remake it. In the end, we have no clue how this is going to turn out. Maybe it'll be amazing and fantastic, but a lot of people don't have a lot of hope for it right now. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. But I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.